Hi, and welcome again to Wingman Wisdom. I'm excited about today's video. If you're new to Wingman Wisdom, I am the Wingman, the RV Wingman, former campground owner, lifelong RVer, and lover of the great outdoors. I love most of the people that do it most of the time. If you happen to be an RVer, are you wondering about the current conditions in the RV industry? You probably are. Do you think you know what the state of the RV industry is? Well, my guest today is one of the most requested guests that I ever have on. He's Kevin Fraser from Cheyenne Camping Center. Nobody has a better, 30,000-foot view than Kevin does. And so I just shot a very long interview with him. We're going to cut it up in pieces about the current state of the RV industry, and we go off into a couple of different directions. But as always, listen to every word that Kevin says. That's my best advice to you. If you've not yet subscribed to Wingman Wisdom, take a second, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your RVing friends on social media if you find this kind of material to be of value. Right now, let's get into the studio with my friend, Kevin Fraser. So the last time we visited, which was a couple of months ago, people were left hanging. They wanted to know more from Kevin Fraser. And I know that a lot has happened in the RV industry, a lot of changes over the last few months. And I wanted to get your up-to-date, view of what you see is happening in the RV industry, good or bad. We're all grown-ups here, and I think we can take bad news if you have any.
There's not as much bad news as I fully expected. We got some grown-ups in the industry. I don't know how that happened, but we have three primary producers. We got Forest River, of course, and Thor and Winnebago in their Grand Design division. My biggest fear was that after the boom of the lockdown years, that they would keep going and overproduce something awful like 2019, which led to a great dislocation. But also I've been getting calls from customers who are wondering, well, I just bought one in the last year. Am I going to see a total collapse in the value of my RV because things are overproduced and people are discounting the hell out of them to clear their yards? Well, Brother Michael did a reconnoiter last week, and I've got real information, real intel from on the ground. He picked up that some of this is verbal, but most of it's direct observation by him. It looks like, and I knew this about Forest River, though they tried to keep it quiet. It looks like Thor and Forest River were very careful in production in the third quarter. They shut down everything that they could. They're still not producing very fast, but of course they don't want people to know that, so they don't tell even each other. So Mike looked around at the big industry production centers in Indiana and Michigan and found that the holding yards and shipping yards are empty. Of course, as usual,
Really?
Winnebago, which is Grand Design, did overproduce, but they're less than 10% of production, so it's not going to screw things up. The short version is RV prices are not going to collapse next year. And the RV industry was smarter than it usually is, maintaining a certain discipline as far as production. Production now is coming back slowly, and they're producing like 3 days a week. And part of that is supply, and there's good side benefits to this too. We are reshoring so fast, I can't believe it. All that stuff that came from China that caused so much trouble the last couple of years, they're replacing it with American-made parts as fast as they can. Faster than I thought was humanly possible.
How and why is that happening?
Well, you couldn't trust anything that was coming from China. The cost to transport the stuff across the Pacific went absolutely crazy. $30,000 for a container that 2 years before cost $2,200 to cross the Pacific. You couldn't pay for any of the little stuff. They were even producing Chinese furniture to put in RVs, which I always thought was crazy because it takes up too much space. It's all coming back into sync. Plus, China is not somebody that we want to do business with. They're unreliable. They got everything shut down right now. So our friends are going to get the business, and a lot of it's being done in the USA, and that's all good. Most of this going to China was started in the 90s, and it did result in holding down RV prices. But during the last 2 years, RV prices went up so much because of Chinese price increases and other national source price increases. We can now afford to make everything in America, and it works out the same. So this is going to be a long-term good deal. We're not going to see a big drop in price per se, not in 23, maybe not ever. To me, I know there's not that many. There's one big similarity, but to me, this is more like 79 through 81, the double dip recession, and we're kind of in the middle of it now. Then it's like 73, 74. You know, back in 73, I told you could buy a whole motorhome for $8,000. And I used to always think about that. I used to do a mental experiment. Would it have been a profitable exercise to buy a bunch of $8,000 motorhomes and save them, not sell them, put them in a yard, put them under a tent? No, it didn't work. It could never have worked because the price, the value of those motorhomes went up, but the cost to carry them, the interest rates were jumping then. You remember when they were real crazy at the end of that decade?
Right.
You couldn't have done it. So it made no sense. Once RV prices go up, I think this is true of almost everything except commodities, they stay up. So we're in for a period of very, very static prices. The competition between Forest River and Thor is mostly going to be on features and quality, and good luck to both of them. God knows what Winnebago's up to. I can't figure it out. When we were going through these periods, we had the big price increases. Yeah, Forest River was bad, but I think they were forced into it. Thor was worse. Winnebago was crazy. Their Grand Design stuff, I don't know how they can present a value argument. Now, what about for buying an RV or selling an RV?
Exactly.
Yes. You're going to see stable prices, put things off for right now. Now, on the used side, which if somebody already owns it, it's a used one. I'm sorry, you suffered about an 8% retrenchment in the first 6 months of this year, and we've slipped back. It's going to end up being 9. So figure 18% for the year they've come down. But they went up at least that much, and cars are doing the same thing, although they haven't moved as much yet. Be careful about buying a used one right now. The chains are underwater on their entire huge, enormous, massive inventory. The chains like Camping World and Bish's have already started these odd advertisements in heavy rotation. Come and make us an offer. They're on sale. It's an on-facility auction. That's all a come on. That's all Barker talk. Forget about that. Somebody called me up, a couple of them called me up yesterday. I want to get an older used motorhome. I want to get an older used fifth wheel. Don't do it now. Wait for it to settle out. Unless you got a compelling time reason, wait for it to settle out. Who has a compelling time reason? A lot of people who were living in South Florida. So South Florida is going to suck up inventory. Oh, and that has to do with new inventory too. South Florida, best guess I got, and I'm relying on outside experts, seeing how great they've been. It looks like the hurricane in Florida is going to absorb about 60% of the new RVs that are in bulging dealers' inventory.
Wow.
What does that mean? Well, because of the aforementioned discipline that was exercised by Forest River and Thor, we only have, we made over 600,000 units in 2021. We're going to make a little over 400,000 this year as a whole industry. But retail sales of RVs are down half. Now, I know too many numbers for this, but what it means is we had twice as much inventory in September of 22 as we did in September of 21. But in September of 21, we had a terrible shortage of inventory. So did we overproduce? Kinda. We cut our production by a third. 30%. Our sales went down 50%. But South Florida, if the hurricane really sucks up 60,000 units, that's 15. We're in equilibrium. There's not going to be a big inventory problem to worry about next year. It's all going to sort itself out, mostly because of the discipline of people that don't usually have it.
You see what I mean by having a smart friend in Kevin Fraser? Nobody, as I say, is smarter than he is and has a better, more unique view than Kevin Fraser does. And he's so honest about what he shares. As I mentioned at the beginning of this segment today, this was a very long interview I did with Kevin. So it's going to come out in several pieces. I know some of you wish it would be in one long piece, but what YouTube analytics tells us is If a video gets to be more than about 12 or 14 minutes long, we lose people no matter how good the content is. So please bear with me. This is the first in a series of videos I'll be doing with Kevin Fraser on the state of the RV industry as we wind down 2022 and look ahead to 2023. If you've not yet subscribed to Wingman Wisdom, hit the subscribe bell right now. Give this video a like, share it on social media, please, with your friends and family that are RVing and camping fanatics like probably you and I are. They need to hear this information. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. Be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home.